It seems like no one is talking about this, but did you know you can run background tasks with Claude Code on GitHub and you don't even need to pay anything extra if you already have a Claude Code subscription. If you're curious, stay tuned because in this video I'm going to be going over how I set up Claude Code on GitHub, how this all fits in my workflow, and what are the pros and cons of using this method. But before that, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, please and thank you. Let's go. Obviously, you're going to need Claude Code installed on your machine. Open up the terminal, launch Claude Code. Make sure to launch it in the directory of your GitHub repository that you want to install the Claude Code GitHub workflow into. Then you're going to use the command install GitHub app. What this is going to do is going to run you through the whole process of installing the Claude GitHub application and giving it the correct permissions. And then coming back to the terminal, it's going to ask you if you want to initialize the GitHub workflow file in your repo. And obviously you're going to do that. For me, I already have it, so I'm just going to skip this process. As you can see here, it's asking me to choose the API key. I'm going to have it create a long-lived token with my Claude subscription. This is how it will allow you to use Claude Code on GitHub for free with your Claude subscription rather than having to specify a different API key, which then would cost API pricing, which can be a lot more costly. After you hit enter, it will ask you to authorize, and that is basically it. Claude Code is now set up for your GitHub actions. You're probably thinking, oh wow, that was pretty easy. Yes, it was easy, but there's a few tiny gotchas. But before I show you what they are and how to fix them, let me tell you about today's video sponsor, TestSprite. If you're like me and you despise creating and maintaining tests, then you're going to love TestSprite. TestSprite is a fully autonomous agentic testing tool that creates and runs tests for your project, as well as fixes any bugs that it catches. To get started, use the link below in the description, create an API key, select the IDE or tool that you're using. For me, that's going to be Claude Code. You know it. And all I would have to do here is copy this command and paste it into my terminal. That's it. TestSprite is now set up for Claude Code. Moving on to the best part. Having Claude Code use TestSprite to create and run tests for you. TestSprite MCP will start up a server with a short form that you'll need to fill out, just to give it a little bit more context on what kind of tests you want it to run for you. The main part here is that you'll need some kind of product specification file, whether that's a PRD or something else, in order for TestSprite to know what exactly you want it to test. What I did was I basically just had Claude Code generate this product specification file for me based on the code base. And then I passed that straight in to TestSprite. This took about 10 minutes to run on the devlogger website. If I now go to the TestSprite dashboard under MCP tests, I'll see what tests are being ran. And if I click into one of them, I'll be able to see a full video recording of the test. And here's the cool part. It even generated a test report markdown file, which I can now go to Claude Code and be like, hey, can you go ahead and fix the code base based on the test results? Honestly, I did not think that this was going to be this easy, considering it literally just worked right out of the box. I want tests, I just don't want to have to create and maintain them myself. Anyway, I highly recommend you check them out. They have a running promotion right now, a very generous free tier. Check it out, link down below in the description. All right, let's get back to the video. So here are a few configurations you'll need to adjust on GitHub in order to ensure that Claude Code runs smoothly and without any problems. First thing I'm going to need to go to the settings, under actions, general, and under workflow permissions. I'm going to need to give it the permissions to read and write, as well as allow GitHub Actions to create and approve pull requests. This is just going to allow Claude Code to make commits when it actually runs its job, okay? Remember that this Claude Code is going to be running on the cloud, on your GitHub Action machine. So yeah, if it doesn't make any commits, you won't see the changes. Just FYI. That's all good now. Make sure to hit save. The next thing you want to check out is under your .claude folder in the settings.json, make sure you don't have any git commands in your deny list. I actually already removed this, but previously I had git commit, git push, those commands to be under my deny list, and I was wondering, hey, why is Claude Code not able to make commits or push to the repo? That was something I ran into. And then the final part is that in your GitHub Workflows folder under Claude YAML file, in the Run Claude Code step, you can actually specify a base branch that Claude Code is going to use to create new branches from and work on that branch. By default, this is going to choose your default branch, but my default branch is my main branch, and it's also my production branch. Usually, I don't work directly off my production branch. I work off my dev branch. So that's why I'm specifying the base branch here to dev, so that when Claude Code does any work, it's going to first create a new branch based off the dev branch rather than the main branch, which might be way behind. This way, once Claude Code has finished its work, I can review it and then merge that new branch that Claude Code has made straight back into the dev branch. Hope that all makes sense. Now that I have all this set up, let's actually check out how I use it in my workflow. To get started using Claude Code on GitHub, I'm going to first have to create an issue. And what I'm going to have it do is implement a small feature into my application, Claude Maestro. If you don't know what Claude Maestro is, it's basically a Claude Code background task orchestrator. As you can see here, I'm in my task view. There's a bunch of tasks here, and I want to move this kill button here from the top right to the bottom right inside chat input area. Going back to GitHub, I've already written out my prompt here. To explicitly tell Claude Code to work on this issue, you'll need to do @Claude like this. So here I'm telling it to ultra think, then come up with a detailed plan, output plan as a comment on this GitHub issue. This is very important here, that I specify that it has to output the plan as a comment rather than creating a markdown file and putting it into the repo. The main reason why I want Claude to output the plan as a comment in this GitHub issue is that we can then ask Claude again down here once the plan has been generated to implement that plan. If you do not specify for Claude to output the plan as a comment, it's going to create a new branch with the plan as a markdown file. And what I've discovered is that if you do it that way, the next instance of Claude does not have access to that new branch. And the other thing I do really want to mention here, if you create a new branch for this issue and assign it right here, Claude Code will not take this into account. This is something kind of annoying when using Claude Code with GitHub. As you can see now, it has completed the plan. It has output the plan as a comment on this GitHub issue. If you want to modify this plan, you can just go ahead and edit it right here. Now, how do we have Claude Code implement this plan? You might be thinking, okay, I guess I can do the same thing, just Claude implement the plan. No, this will not work. What this will actually do is it's going to input the title and the description of the issue into Claude and then ask it to implement the plan, which does not exist. So then it's going to come up with another plan and then implement that plan. What we want to do is use this plan right here, because Claude Code does not actually ingest every single comment inside an issue. I would have to go copy link here from this issue. I would go to Claude, implement this plan, and paste that in, and that is how Claude Code will be able to reference the plan that it has previously generated and implement it using a new context window. Yes, it's a little hacky. I wish that all the comments inside an issue is loaded into the new instance of Claude Code's context window, but apparently it does not currently in this iteration, at least. As you can see, it has implemented the plan. So at this point, I want to check out the work that it has done and review it, make sure that everything was implemented correctly. So I would go back to my IDE cursor, check out the branch, run the project. This is theoretically working. Obviously, there's some styling issues here. Let's say that this is totally fine and I did like the changes it has made. I would go ahead and create a new pull request here. You can see it would merge this into dev branch if I do end up merging the pull request. At this point, Claude Code is going to do a code review for me. And when this is done, I'm going to be able to merge the pull request right into my dev branch. I'm not going to merge this for now because I'm just showing you how this process is like within my workflow. While this is great and all, considering that you're able to run Claude Code on GitHub basically for free if you already have a Claude subscription, and on top of that, you can literally create as many issues as you want and instantiate as many instances of Claude Code as you want and have it run simultaneously in parallel working on different tasks, like you have multiple different coworkers on your team working all at the same time on different parts of the project. However, there are a few caveats and cons that I want to go over to help you better understand whether this workflow is for you or not. The first one would be your Claude Code subscription might hit its limit faster than it normally already would. The second would be, as you have noticed, you don't really have as much control over the context. So basically how I think about Claude Code on GitHub is that I have it do like an initial pass of the issue, and then I take over from there by checking out the branch and then working it locally myself. The third con that I want to mention is that this currently does use up your GitHub Actions minutes. And every month on the free tier, you have 2,000 minutes. However, there is a way to get around that, and that is to set up your own local runner. And you can do this super easy. It's literally one command and you're done. Another thing is that if you're one of the people who like to have the plan inside your repo, inside a specs folder, then this might not work for you, as each time it creates a new plan, it's going to have to create a new branch just for that plan. And then you're going to have to merge that branch into, your dev branch before asking Claude to implement that plan again. Whenever you instantiate a new Claude instance on GitHub, is only going to branch out of the base branch that we have specified in the claude.yaml file. And the last downside to using this I want to mention is that, as you have seen, it's a little clunky when you have to check your work locally. You have to manually type in a command to check out the branch. I know it's like a small thing, this is such a first world problem, but seriously, now that you know how to use Claude Code on GitHub, you might be wondering, is there a cheaper way to use Claude Code? Well, let me answer you that question in this video, where I go over how you can use Claude Code with GLM 4.6 and DeepSeek 3.2. It is super easy to set up, so definitely check this video out. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.